Here, take this in the room. She should unmute herself. If you can't hear her when she come on, this is for the school. If you can't hear her when she come on, here, mute yourself.
Okay, who's talking?
Wait, I just heard. it to we're on now.
Hi.
Thanks for waiting patiently. We're going to get started here shortly, okay? Please stay muted.
Your future. Don't worry about it. Can they hear you?
Okay, good evening. Sorry for the delay. I am Tasha Scheiplein. I'm principal here at Apollo Career Center, and we were going to start out with our superintendent, Mr. Horner. He's kind of experiencing some technical difficulties, so we'll let him get those things ironed out, and in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're very excited to have you guys attending here at Apollo. One of the things that I think you're going to really enjoy about Apollo is if you are someone who is looking for a change from the traditional school model, you're going to find that Apollo really offers that change. It's going to be a very unique experience and give you a wonderful junior year and a wonderful senior year, in addition to allowing you to walk out as a graduate with lots of skills and lots of earning potential. So today, some of the things that we're going to do is to go over some of those details, kind of give you an overview of what to expect when you come in as a student this year, and then kind of also talk a little bit about what happens if things change. I mean, obviously we know with COVID, things have changed pretty rapidly, and we want to make sure that you understand we have plans in place for all of those things. So going to go through, I'm going to kind of talk about what a typical day at Apollo is going to look like. So a typical day here at Apollo, you know, you're in a lab, you're in a program, and you're going to spend a larger portion of your day in that program. The program, like if you are in culinary, we'll say, for example, culinary will be about 3 to 4 periods of your day are going to be encompassed in culinary. You're going to have lunch, and then you'll probably have academic classes or a study hall or a related class, depending on your program, in the afternoon. So that's kind of a typical schedule. And then for seniors, that schedule is reversed, where they would have their lab in the afternoon typically, and their academic classes in the morning. One of the things that's important for you guys to remember when you're looking at a typical day is the fact that you are in a classroom working with fellow students who have a similar passion as you do in that classroom, and working with your career tech teacher for about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes, somewhere in there. So you definitely will find that you form really great relationships, and that it gives you a lot of time to learn a new skill and put those things into practice and do a lot of different hands-on activities. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about credentials. So with credentials in your career tech classes, you're going to find that we talk a lot about the word credentials. And credentials are essentially certificates or licensure that you earn. So if you are in health science, a great example would be your CPR certification or your STNA. And those are credentials and licenses that you learn or you earn here in our high school, very similar to what you'd be earning in a college setting or our adult ed training. You'd be earning those things here on the high school side instead. So a lot of our credentials, we're going to really push, and you're going to hear that word a lot because that is the end goal when you're in a career tech program. Credentials, and a great example would be in our construction equipment program. Construction equipment, the students have the opportunity to earn the CDL. So a CDL licensure, a Class A CDL, would set a construction equipment student after their graduation up to be earning about $45,000 to $55,000 as a starting wage after graduation. So if the student has chose to go through our program and earn that CDL, they may want to do that instead of going to college if that's the pathway that they choose. So credentials are definitely a very big deal. Credentials in a lot of programs are the way that you can actually practice in the industry. So you're going to see a lot of variety and a lot of opportunity for you to earn those. I'm going to see, is Mr. Horner on?
Okay, I'm on. And we had some technical difficulty, and we had about 15 or so of us on another Zoom, and I was on that Zoom as well. So for those people who are on that other Zoom, I want to offer you the ability to call me. I will personally meet with each and every one of you, or we will schedule another Zoom so that we can do this all over. So I want to apologize to you. For those of you who are on the Zoom that I'm just joining, I'm making the assumption you're going to get everything because I'm going to essentially repeat what I started with, which is one, my name's Keith Warner. I'm really happy to be here and really proud to be the superintendent of Apollo. We do things I talked about just a moment ago. I talked about the fact that I've been at 4 different districts in 30 years, and this is the place where I get kids on a regular basis telling me how much they love being at Apollo Career Center. It makes my job really, really rewarding, to be honest. And I can't say we bat 1,000%, but that is really a good experience for kids to be able to come here, work with their hands, or learn a skill, and just to feel like they're empowered with their life a little bit, maybe feel like they belong. So we're happy to have them, and we will go from there. So Tasha just talked a little bit about some credentials, some basic opportunities that you're going to have here. I know Mrs. Buell is going to talk here in a moment as well after I get done, but I'm going to have to repeat what I started in the first group, which was to talk about what school is going to look like in the COVID world. And that is unfortunately going to look like we're going to obviously have to make some modifications to be able to have school. And again, if it means that wearing a mask, I'm happy to wear a mask to be able to have school, if that's the price we have to pay. I don't like wearing a mask at all, but I will do that to be able to have kids in this building because that's what we need. So as we go forward, you will be required to wear a mask here. That obviously, when we did our Zoom earlier today, that was not a mandate. Now it's a governor's mandate. We were going to require it anyway, just because of the condition of Allen County being on red and the fact that we think that you should probably just get used to mentally get prepared to wear a mask each and every school day. So that's one issue. Now let's talk about hand sanitizer and cleaner. So we have hand sanitizer throughout the building. Really, we will have it in every classroom. You'll have access to it. And if we need more, we'll buy more. We should not run out. You'll be able to use that at any time. And obviously, we're going to encourage hand washing as well. But the hand sanitizer will be ready, available, so you can use that multiple times throughout the day. The other thing that you will be able to do, or that we're actually going to need your help on, I guess, I'm requesting some assistance, is we will have disinfectant and paper towels in each classroom. And as you enter the room or leave the room, however the teacher wants you to do it, we would ask that you clean the desk off. So we don't have the manpower to do that on our own, but one of the reasons why we need that is just really to keep you safe. And hopefully that kids will be able to help us with that particular issue. Another COVID-related issue is we are going to have a lot of assigned seating. And that assigned seating is primarily due to the fact that we have to limit who you're in contact with. Now, we're still handing out we're still assigning lockers. You're still going to have passing time in the hallway. It's going to look very much the same, but it should be passing time in the hallway, not stand and congregate. You only have 3 minutes anyway, so there's not a lot of time to stand and congregate as well. But the people you will be with will be the people in your program. So in your program, you're going to have to be with them not only in your program, but you're going to have to set with that program as well. Now, we're not going to necessarily, we're going to try to social distance in the cafeteria. Again, we're not set up to social distance at Apollo Career Center. We will do the best we can. The health department knows that. They're okay with our plan. And we're just going to move forward with that particular plan as well, of having assigned sections for each program at lunch. Now, let's talk about masks. Again, go back to your program. So your program, because you're in there, let's say that you are in a cosmetology classroom or a culinary classroom. What the industry requires of masking will be what you will do in that classroom. And then when you leave that lab setting, you will be required to wear a mask all the time. That might be the same requirement that you just left, or it might be something different. And I'll give you an example. It's not always safe to have a mask on while you're welding. That's just not a safe environment. So that's something that doesn't mean you won't wear a mask in your welding lab, but that means that you probably will have circumstances where you will not wear a mask. And that might be true in other programs as well. So we've had people talk about, will we shut down based upon the colors? We're just going to work with the health department and make the best decision we can. If they strongly recommend that we take a particular action, we'll do so. We have a really nice plan that Tasha will go over to allow us to go 2 days a week if that's possible. But the best scenarios, we're here each and every school day. So I do want to talk a minute about what happens if a student gets COVID or if a staff member gets COVID. So we have the same requirements that you do, or excuse me, that health careers do in terms of HIPAA. We really can't put information out there. The health department will take the lead in terms of informing people. So we already know that there's been experience where people think, I've been around somebody who had COVID and I should be getting a phone call to quarantine, and that has not happened. That is the health department's mandate, not Apollo Career Centers. So you won't hear from us on a broad scale. You won't hear from us, specifically that a student in culinary has COVID. You won't hear that. But what you might hear is a student very broadly, a student at Apollo Career Center has COVID, we're taking the necessary precautions, you will be notified if you need to quarantine. So that might be more of the message you hear as opposed to any specific program. Obviously, with some of our programs, it could be, you could really figure it out who has COVID. There's been questions about the mask. Can you wear the mask? Or excuse me, we don't provide masks. Now we will have masks if kids forget theirs, but they're disposable masks. They're not masks you want to use every day. But we also sell masks in the uniform store, and you can bring your own mask. Now the only thing we ask it to be school appropriate. And that's the typical things that probably occurred in your school. No alcohol, symbols on it, no drug symbols on it, on the mask, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of our COVID world. And my final thing before I turn it over to Tasha again, or maybe Jamie, is that I want to talk a little bit about remote learning. So we've had students ask about the ability to learn remotely academically. You don't have the ability to opt out of lab at Apollo Career Center. We're a hands-on school. You have to be hands-on. To do that, you have to be in session. So unless the county or a governor shuts us down, we're going to be in session. So there's not a remote option. But if there's a remote option for academics, there is. However, I want to talk to people, talk to moms and dads if you're out there. I'm a dad, and I would not advocate for online learning for my child. It simply is not a better method. And I also want to caution you that what we did in the spring and what we will do now is very, very different. And that's intentional. What we did in the spring, we intentionally made easy because we didn't want to put students in a bad situation. An example of that, we didn't want to make a student who did not learn well remotely struggle and then somehow be ineligible for a sport that they want to play at their home school. So for this particular instance, now we're in a different situation. We're going to hold kids more accountable. If you have math class at 8 a.m., and you're doing our remote learning, you have to be online at 8 a.m. You can't just not be there. So much more of a regimented schedule. It will not look the same. And I will tell you, probably most of your homes, no, I can't say all your homeschools, most of your homeschools are doing the same thing. So went over a lot very fast there. Mrs. Buell, would you like to take over some of your stuff?
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and have Mrs. Scheiblein speak, and then I'll
Okay.
go after her. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just got a couple more things to kind of cover here. So as Mr. Horner said, remote learning is, especially at Apollo, it's very difficult to do remote learning in a career tech class. And we know that that is not the best option. A great example would be, you probably don't want your hair cut by somebody who learned how to cut hair off of a computer and has never physically cut hair. I mean, that just makes sense, right? So, hands-on is one of the most important things. And we also recognize that's how our students learn. You may do well in classes and sitting in a desk, but I would venture to say that most of you have made the choice to come to Apollo because you are a person who wants to learn by doing. You want your hands in the mix and you want to learn. If I'm a culinary student, I want to be able to cook the food, not read about how to cook the food. I probably also want to be able to eat the food after I'm done cooking it, which is kind of a nice perk, right? When we talk about remote learning, we have 3 different plans in place. So I'm just going to talk about our traditional plan, which we're going to start out with as Plan 1. That's what we have every intention of starting out with Plan 1. And that is where you come to school 5 days a week. And you are, here, you're in your classes, you're in your lab, you're getting the full benefit of your education. Now, we know the situation with COVID could change quickly. So given that, we know we have to have a Plan B and a Plan C. So our Plan B, or I'll jump to kind of Plan C first, okay? So we have Plan A we're going to start with. Plan C, worst case scenario would be that everything had to be remote. But again, knowing that's not the best thing for our students, we have put in place a Plan B that we hope will be in effect before, we would ever have to resort to a Plan C. So under Plan B, you would be attending Apollo 2 days a week, and that would be full days in your lab, and then you would have to do your academic classes remotely. But again, we know that's not the best case scenario. We know that learning remotely is tough sometimes. It's tough to stay focused. Sometimes when you're in your household, not everyone in your household wants to cooperate with you learning. There's lots of things that kind of happen. So, moving to a Plan B and moving to a Plan C, we would work with the local health department to determine if those needed to happen. But, our hope is definitely to start and continue on our first plan, which is that 5 days a week that you would be present. As you attend Apollo, so we kind of talked about credentials and things like that. So credentials, you're learning the content, you're earning those things while you're in your labs, and they're setting you up for success after graduation. The other option that we want you to be thinking about, especially those of you who are first-year students to Apollo, you're going to be here your junior and your senior year. You want to really strive to possibly qualify for our school to work or our apprenticeship program. So I want to kind of go over those. So in both of those programs, you have certain criteria you need to reach, and that might be earning your credential. It's going to have there'll be criteria such as attendance, grades, being on track for graduation, and being on track and successful in your program. So as you hit specific milestones as a senior, you can qualify for school to work. What school to work is basically where you obtain a job in your career field. So if I'm a welder, I've got a welding job. And what we do is we replace the lab with you going to work and earning money. So it's a great opportunity for you if you've really been a rock star, you've gotten those skills, you're ahead of the curve. you can actually continue to attend class at your workplace and receive a grade for that. So it's a great opportunity for students. Likewise, we have a program called Apprenticeship. An apprenticeship has a little bit more rigorous standards. You need to have 95% attendance as a junior. So if you're interested, you really want to be focused on good attendance your whole junior year. You need to have a teacher recommendation, and every class has to have a B or above to qualify for apprenticeship. But the wonderful part about apprenticeship is the same thing. You're obtaining a job in your career field, and this time you come to school the first 2 weeks of the month, as an example, and the second 2 weeks of the month, you are working full-time at your job and getting paid for that. And those 2 full weeks count as credit for your lab. So you're getting a grade for going to work and doing a great job at work. And the whole idea behind everything we do here at Apollo is to simulate the work experience. So when we do our best to simulate it here in school, but there's nothing better when you get to a certain point where you're really skilled than putting you out into the workplace and letting you kind of finish and add on and get some additional advanced training in the workplace. So apprenticeship and school to work are definitely 2 things we want to put out there, make sure you're aware so that you guys can really focus on doing what you need to do in your junior year to get to that level and qualify. I think for me, I think that kind of covers my content. So I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Buell.
Thank you. All right, so we are excited to see you shortly here at the start of the school year. We will start our first day of school on August 25th. And like you received in the email, that day is going to be a great day for the students to navigate around Apollo in small groups and get to know the whole building and where everything is located. And also, with schedules being mailed to you the week prior to school starting, you will be able to go through your schedule that day as well to get familiar with that. On the first day of school, uniforms will be here for you to pick up if you did place your orders in time for that. And otherwise, you are to wear school appropriate clothing, similar to what you would wear the first day of school at your home district. And then you will receive also 2 t-shirts to wear throughout the school year, 2 Apollo t-shirts. And we'll kind of go over more about different days that you can wear your shirts as well, but you can wear those until uniforms come in too. With the start of the school year, you will also be assigned a locker. And I know that question came up on chat. Book bags are not to be in the classroom. So if you do have a book bag, you will have an assigned locker and you can place that book bag in the locker for the day. With parking passes, that's another question that comes up. Parking passes will be issued to students. So we will be around to visit your program labs during that first day of school. And we will connect with you to see if you need a parking pass. You do not have to buy one. We will just collect some information from you, and then you will be issued a parking pass on that first day of school. For any forms that we have sent you and you have also seen online on our website is a great place to visit. You can see all of the packet information that was mailed to you and emailed to you on our website. There's a great link after you click on high school, you click on new students, and all of that information is there. So any forms that you need to fill out, you can bring with you to the first day of school. There's also some online forms. I've also had the question about medical forms. There is a medical form if you need that for medicine to complete. So you can print that off, complete that, and also bring with you on the first day of school. Again, schedules will be mailed to you. If you have any questions about your schedule, please feel free to contact us. I know the question came up about CCP, College Credit Plus classes. That is also a great option for students to do. And I know that required prior work with getting all of that started back at the end of last school year with your homeschool counselor. So just make sure if you are connected with that, that you send us your CCP schedule. So we have everything here at Apollo. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to call our office. It's 419-998-2921. You can also, like I said, click on our website to find further information or email us and we'll get back to you.
For students who have program-specific questions, so, we require our students to wear a uniform, and those uniforms are purchased through the Apollo website. Each program does have its own unique uniform or specific uniform requirements. And if you go to our high school page on our website, you will be able to find your specific program and get all of the details as far as the tools you need to buy, the uniforms that you are required to have, and any additional like school supplies that might be required for that program. So please, if your instructor, you've probably been contacted by your instructor over the summer, but that is a great resource, a great spot for you to find that information about your specific uniform. I did notice there was a question about will water bottles be allowed to be carried? Yes, and actually we have ordered Apollo water bottles for every student. So when you come in at the beginning of the year, you will receive a clear Apollo water bottle from us that you will be able to fill at the fountain, since the traditional drinking fountain is closed.
We would ask that your water bottles be clear. Okay, lots of questions in the chat box. I want to thank you for those. Also, I want to point out that both of these Zoom sessions were recorded, so you'll be able to get those. That link is in the chat box if you'd like to scroll for that, and it will also be on our website as well. I want to thank everyone and tell you how excited we are to be able to see kids in this building again. We really need kids, and we're really excited about what we do here at Apollo Career Center. We expect this to be another record enrollment for the third year in a row. So 3 years ago, we started a record enrollment at 722. Last year we had 759, and we expect to be somewhere in the 780, 790 range this year. So we're really happy that people in this region value career technical education and what we do at Apollo. But most importantly, we want to offer your students and you young men and women here really good experience while you're at Apollo Career Center. We talk a lot here about being next ready. Next ready really just means we don't want to put any of you students, young men and women, in a box. We don't want to say you can or you can't, because to be honest, the world is yours. You can go do what you want to do with it. If you want to go to college, you can. If that's your path, great. If you don't want to go to college, you don't have to. There are many ways to go out and be productive in this world with or without college. And we want to support all of those. If that could include supporting you with college, we just want you to be next ready. What's next for you? So no limitations when you come to Apollo Career Center and you get to start over from wherever you might have been, or just come and learn a new skill. So I think we're going to turn it over to Jamie maybe to answer some questions, and maybe we can rotate through that as we go through. Do you want to go ahead, Jamie?
Yeah, thank you. So I saw the question about open house. Our open house is canceled. So you will come here on the first day of school on August 25th, and you will bring any forms with you that you have. And that day is the day that you will receive your uniforms if you prior ordered them by the deadline. First day of school, you can wear school appropriate clothing. Okay, so similar to what you would wear at your home school district. Like I said, we're going to walk you through the schedule that you receive in the mail prior to coming to Apollo, so you'll kind of know what to expect. Also, for supplies, your instructors have contacted you about your programs, but for academics, I would just suggest that you bring a notebook and a pen. You can take notes from every class period that you do go to. Your teachers will give you information and pass out papers on what you will need for the school year.
Austin had a good question. What if your homeschool decides to shut down for whatever reason, if COVID's bad? Because we have different counties, so I'm assuming we might have somebody here from Wapak who's obviously a different county, or Putnam County where Columbus Grove students are. So let's say that those schools shut down, but we're still open. We are working, and I have not contacted with every superintendent yet, but every superintendent, and I've contacted most of them so far, have agreed that they will still send a bus to Apollo Career Center. So we'll have to get to your home school. That'll be your responsibility, but we will send a bus, or excuse me, they will send a bus to you. The busing is the home school's responsibility. So they've always been very cooperative, and we're very appreciative of them. Hopefully that answers that question.
Just to reiterate, again, schedules will be mailed to you prior to the start of the school year. So the 17th, they will be mailed to you. And then on the first day of school, if you have any questions, we'll go over that stuff with you, but you will walk through your schedule on the first day on August 25th.
Tasha, Jamie, are you seeing anything else? Or if you have
Yeah.
more questions, you can put this in.
Yep. So for your programs, if you have not received any information from your instructor, you please visit our website. The program packet was mailed to you and was also emailed to you. So you can also visit our website to see the program packet and get that information. But please feel free to email me if you have not received anything from your instructor, and I will get you connected.
Okay.
Just one final thing, and you may have touched on this, Jamie. Sorry, I was reading at the same time. But yeah, if there are questions that we have in this space that are not getting answered, just a reminder that we'll have a Zoom frequently asked questions piece on our website over, and we'll continue to add to that. So just check back there to see if your specific question was answered if we haven't gotten to it specifically today. And as always, feel free to give us a call here at Apollo Career Center if you'd like to talk with someone and get something answered. Okay.
So just one other thing. You just had a late question that I think is a common question about extracurriculars at home schools. Jamie, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, for students that are in band, first or last period of the day, or ag, another class, that will still go for you. Make sure that you have connected with your homeschool counselor to let them know that you still plan on being in that course. We are working with them closely to make sure that your schedule is prepared. So if you are in band first period, you'll come here and check in at the office to start second period here at Apollo. And then if you are scheduled to be at a class at your homeschool district at the end of the day, again, we will have you released in time to leave and go back. For anyone that is involved in going back for band, ag, or another class, please remember that you do have to provide your own transportation. The buses only come at the beginning of the day and come back at the end of the day to pick students up. So if you are leaving early or arriving late, you must provide your own transportation for that.
Okay, we wanted to, I know there's more questions coming in, and we appreciate that. We'll do just a few more, and then we will kind of let people email us, contact us on your own, which we will be happy to continue to post questions, common questions on that FAQ on the website. Do students sign in for a lab? If a student is only attending for a lab, do they sign in and out of the office every day?
Yes, they will sign in at the office.
And the fingerprinting, Jamie or Tasha, I'm not sure what programs we're fingerprinting for.
So for the early childhood program, if that's the one you're in, and then I believe the firefighting program, please make sure you stay in contact with your instructor about the fingerprinting options.
And fingerprinting for like early childhood is done during class time. So they will actually bring you down to our adult ed to get that fingerprinting done. So it's not something you need to have done in prior to school. There was a question about the fit test for respirators. I know that a portion of that is done in the class because our instructor is actually certified to do for a portion of the fit test. But if there is a portion that needs to be done by the doctor, if you're not able to get that done, if the instructor has said, hey, we need this done before the beginning of class, if you're not able to get into the doctor, please don't worry. We will definitely be flexible, and I'm sure that Mr. Swigert would be very understanding that you were not able to get into the doctor to get that portion done. I'm seeing questions about lunch accounts. So our lunch accounts, there's information about like free and reduced lunch, and additional information about lunch in general on our website. But as far as lunch accounts go, you can bring in cash, you can bring in a check. We have a drop box for money. We will also have a kiosk type of a thing, like an iPad setup, where students can actually use credit card to add money to their lunch account. And then we also have the availability if parents aren't comfortable with that, where they can actually call the school, talk with our school cashier, and she can do credit card information over the phone to assist with that too, if you're not comfortable with any of the other avenues. So whatever works best for you is fine when it comes to, when it comes to that. So.
Okay. I would like to thank everybody, and I need to again apologize to that small group that I had previous. Feel free to reach out to me. My email's in that chat box. Both of these are recorded, so we can go on from there. But really happy to have you at Apollo Career Center, and we look forward to seeing you on the 25th or the 26th if you're a returning student. So thank you very much. We will sign off, and feel free to contact us.
That's the one I don't get.